Are you still packaging apps for AVD or Windows 365? Do you miss SCCM task sequences and frustrated that Intune doesn't offer similar functionality? Nerdio Scripted Sequences lets you automate installs, reboots, and configure registries similar to how we used to be able to do in SCCM or Config Manager. Nerdio Scripted Sequences can automate app installs in a way that makes packaging feel honestly pointless most of the time. Something breaks or something doesn't look right, you change a registry key or an install command, then you push it again. Then a week later, someone says, hey, we need this on a different host pool with different settings. Then now you're repeating the same work again and again. And the worst part is, it's never just installed the app. It's all the prerequisites, the reboots, the registry tweaks, the validation, the logging, all the annoying little bits. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can deploy apps using scripted sequences. So instead of just doing one script, one install, then just hope for the best, you build a proper repeatable workflow that you can reuse across different host pools and different environments. So in a second, I'm going to jump into the Nerdio console. We're going to build a real sequence for Adobe Acrobat Reader and a few other apps. Then we'll do install the app, handle the prereqs, apply the registry tweaks, manage reboot properly, validate the app actually launches, because there's a difference between apps are a constant firefight and apps are just automation. It's faster onboarding, fewer broken deployments, less manual work, and way more consistency across your AVD estate. Scripted sequences are one of those features that once you start using it, you generally don't want to go back. All right, so now let's get into the Nerdio console. I'm going to show you how scripted sequences are going to work, the exact steps that I use, and how you can steal this for your own environment. So let's get going. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome. This is the Virtual Man YouTube channel. On this channel, I'll review the latest news about Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, Intune, Nerdio, Entra ID, Azure, much more. Basically anything to do with EUC or VDI or DAS, this is where you're going to find it. So if this is the type of content that you like to see, then please click that subscribe button because it really helps me grow the channel. Thank you. All right, so let's actually now take a look in the Nerdio console and see what a scripted sequence actually is. As the name implies, a scripted sequence is about sequences. So I'm sure you're all very familiar with task sequences that you can have in Config Manager and SCCM. So scripted sequences for Nerdio are very similar functionality. We got a lot of feedback from customers that a lot of that functionality was missing. You couldn't get that within Intune, and there's no easy way to do that within Azure Virtual Desktop. So we've built this functionality to replicate what you'll be able to do using task sequences. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. This is the Nerdio console. You can see here I've got a new scripted sequence option. So what we'll do is we'll build one out. I'll show you what you can do with it, and then we'll actually go and deploy onto a session host, and then we'll see what that looks like. Probably one caveat to mention at the moment is that this is only available for Intune devices as it is right now. We will be making this available for AVD session hosts very shortly. Okay, so that'll be within the next release, which will be 7.6. Imagine a scenario where you have an application, you don't want to have to repackage that application, but you want to deploy it along with another set of applications as well, right? So I've already got my applications imported into the Nerdio Unified Application Manager. So that could be public winget, private winget, whatever you choose. So I can come in here, I can go to add task. What we see here is we've got a number of actions which we can take. So we've got install application. I can run a PowerShell script. I can do a restart. I can do a delay. I can add a registry key, delete registry keys, set value, delete value. So you can really customize it to however you want. So think about what you want to achieve as an outcome. So for example, what I can do here is I'm going to install Adobe Acrobat Reader, right? So install Adobe Acrobat. Okay. So I can come here and I can basically say install application, and then I'm going to select my Adobe Acrobat Reader from that list. So that's what I've done. So I can click save if I wanted to, and then I can click on add task. So that's going to add another task. For this one, I want to customize Adobe. I can go to my action, and here I'm actually going to run a PowerShell script, right? So I'm going to here. So from here, I can run my PowerShell script. So I'm going to paste that in there. So this is my PowerShell script, which is basically going to configure some registry keys. Okay. I can also do it using the registry value as well, right? So for example, I could go into here and let's just copy this. For example, copy, then go to add task, and then I can go to set registry value, set registry, and then I can go to add registry key and then put that in there, right? And then click save. Okay. So that's what you can do with that. So if you think about you have to repackage the application to set registry keys or copy files or something, I can do that within here. So maybe we want to install Google Chrome. So install Google Chrome. I can select, and then I'm going to install the application, and then I'm going to here and select my install Google Chrome from there. Then let's add WinZip, for example. Click in here, go add WinZip. So install application. So I'm going to name that install. Okay, and then I'm going to go in here and then search for that. So WinZip there. Okay, and we've done that. And then once I've done that, I can basically say after WinZip's been installed, let's just restart the machine. Okay, so restart VM. Okay, and then click the save button. So now I've got my sequence, right? So using that sequence, I can then go and deploy that to either individual machines, or I can deploy it to groups as well, right? So if I've got a certain host pool or a certain set of VMs or something I want to deploy this to, what I can then do is go to my scripted sequences. Yeah. So what I've done, I've created a scripted sequence group in Enter ID. So I'm going to select that, or scripts and sequences. You can search individual devices as well if you want to. And then I'm going to click on confirm, click on OK. And then what that's then going to do, that's going to then push it out. Now, how long does it take to push it out? It's two things. It needs what we call a worker to be deployed onto the actual machine itself. So a worker is essentially the baseline for the configuration. So this runs as a set of PowerShell scripts on the actual VM itself. That worker can take a bit of time to install because that's relying upon Intune, right? So it can take a few hours. But once that worker is deployed, then it's a lot quicker to update applications as of that moment in time, because we can take, I think it syncs every 30 minutes or every 15 minutes. So if I'm pushing out something from Nerdio, it should be a maximum of 15 minutes or maybe 30 minutes when that application will actually install on that VM, because it's like syncing from both locations. So we've got a configuration within Nerdio and we've got a configuration on the VM, and those two type of talk to each other, right? So what we'll do next is we'll go and actually look on the VM. I'll show you the logs and we'll actually see what it's doing. All right, in a second. So it's created at 9 a.m. And basically, these are the stuff which is put in there, so you can see it's created that, and there's device group IDs. So that's going to be the VMs which is pulled out from that group. And then what we can see here is if I just click on the details here. So what it's doing is extracting the application tasks. So it's 3 applications which I told it to deploy. It's installing Adobe Acrobat Reader, Google Chrome, and WinZip. And then also it will configure the actual details, the configuration script on the VMs itself, which configures the registry key. So you see that's waiting for the command complete. So what we'll do is we'll wait for that to complete, and then we'll come back shortly, and hopefully we'll see those applications deployed. So let's see how we've actually got on now. So I'll just flick you over to the Nerdio console. So the job's completed, and you can see there execute script iteration. So click on the details tab for that. Now, what is interesting, it actually failed on something for the WinZip install. It required a .NET. So I'll just show you something which I did to fix that. But this is a typical example of the type of issues that you'd hit. So if we go in here, we can see execute, there's been an error, right? So if I just click on the details for that, we can see it's the total task 5, successful 3, failed on 1. Let's have a quick look and see what it's failed on. So if I go to the executions, I can see there it is actually failed. What it's failing on is failing to install WinZip. So if I just click on here, install WinZip, you can see there what it's actually saying is no suitable installer found for Manifest Microsoft.NET Framework Developer Pack version 4.8.1. It needs the .NET Framework installing on the VM. So just as a quick example, what I've done is in the job, if I go back to my scripted sequences, this is a classic example of why we need this. So if I just click in here, I go to the scripted sequences, then edit that. So what I did, I've added this install.NET Framework step, right? And that's could basically just run a PowerShell script, which is going to go and grab the latest version of the .NET Framework and the 4.8.1 from there. And from there, it'll go ahead and install that just before it does the WinZip, right? So this is the kind of thing that you can do from here. That's pretty cool. Right, so let's go back and see what it actually did complete successfully. So if I go back to my executions, you can see it installs Adobe Acrobat. It's done the customization, right? So these are the registry keys which we set, and then it's gone ahead and installed Google Chrome. So you can see there and that it's installed that successfully. Okay, and then you can also add in your own sort of customizations for Google Chrome if you wanted from within there. So now if we go and jump onto the VM, what we should see is, just close that down, and we should see that we have those installed. So there you go. You can see like we've got Adobe Acrobat Reader. So if I just double click and launch that and just make sure it's launching. So yeah, you can see there we've got no prompts because we can configure it to say, hey, suppress all the prompts. So that's all good. So just close that down. And then just to make sure Google Chrome's launching successfully. So we can go ahead there and launch Google Chrome. Obviously, first time it's launching, so it's going to be a bit slow while it sets everything up. So there you go. I've got my Google Chrome now working. So yeah, that's all looking good. I hope you can see the power of what we can do with this, right? As I said, this is what we used to be able to do with sort of task sequences within SCCM, and we can now have that kind of control. And for me, it's more about making it easier for the admin as well, right? Because the fact that rather than having to start repackaging stuff all the time, and we can do all this via sort of the Nerdio console and Nerdio GUI as well, and then reuse a lot of those packages as well on other host pools and images as well. This will work on images, hopefully, so in the end. At the moment, it's only Intune devices, but it will be coming to AVD session host and hopefully images as well. Yeah, I hope you find it useful. It's something which I'm personally very excited about. It's going to give us a lot more control around deploying applications. So imagine you just have that one-click button and it'll go off and it'll do everything, whether that's install agents, set registry settings, configure file permissions, set ini files, whatever you want it to do. It's pretty powerful in that sense. All right, that's it for this week. I hope, as always, you found this useful. Please let me know in the comments, and please also click the subscribe button because it really helps grow the channel. All right. Thank you. See you next week.